Well, here we are again. Hello. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to get straight into this. The life of Fingolfin. So many of you guys have told me to watch. Here it comes. The life of Fingolfin, Middle-earth lore. Let's do this.
Hey guys, and welcome to History of Middle-earth. We recently put up a poll asking you guys about your favourite king of the Noldor. The comment section was overwhelmed with comments about Fingolfin. So we thought we would give you a video about him. After all, he's one of our favourite characters.
What's your guys' favourite king of the Noldor? Comment down below. Let me know. Maybe there's one I missed and I haven't reacted to.
Characters from the Silmarillion. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video.
Build me a throne worthy of
Sauron!
So Fingolfin was the second High King of the Noldor. The Noldor being one of the three branches of the Elves. He was the son of Finwë and the younger half-brother of Fëanor. He had 4 children, who were Fingon, Turgon, Aradel, and Argon. He was born in Valinor during the Years of the Trees, and was never particularly close to his half-brother Fëanor. This lack of a close relationship would lead to problems later on in Fingolfin's life, but we will get to that later. Anyway, they lived in peace with each other for many centuries. However, the peace in Valinor would soon be brought to an end with Malcor, one of the Valar, and
Are you Team Fëanor or Team Fingolfin? Let me know.
Main source of evil in Arda, was released from his imprisonment by the other Valar after faking his repentance, when in fact his malice and bitterness had only festered and grown, and he had planned to take revenge upon the Elves because he blamed them for his downfall. Of the 3 branches of the Elves, it was only the Noldor that really welcomed Malcor, for he was said to have the most knowledge of all the Valar. Soon after gaining their confidence, Malcor started spreading lies and rumours amongst them regarding the intentions of the Valar. The Noldor elves soon began debating if they should remain in Arman. One of the more vocal elves was Fëanor, as one of the lies that had been told by Malcor was that the sons of Finwë, of which Fingolfin was the eldest, were trying to supplant Fëanor as the rightful heir of Finwë and seize the Silmarils, 3 unbelievably beautiful gems that Fëanor had created. Now, obviously, we know that Fëanor was already not particularly fond of his half-siblings, so he took very little convincing to believe this rumour was true. Fëanor confronted Fingolfin with his sword drawn, threatening him with violent actions. When the Valar discovered that Fëanor had done this to his brother, they called him to them to explain himself. Here Malcor's lies were quickly discovered. Although Fëanor was still held accountable for his threats against Fingolfin, he was banished to a fortress in the north. It wasn't until about 12 years later, at a festival in Valinor, that the brothers made up, although Fëanor did so grudgingly. It was then at this festival that Malcor and the monstrous spider and Goliant attacked, destroying the 2 trees of Valinor and darkening all of Aman. They then attacked the fortress of Formenos, where Fëanor had been staying, and here Malcor killed Finwë and stole the Silmarils. In his grief and anger, Fëanor looked for revenge against Malcor, who at this point was going by the name of Morgoth. And he tried to convince...
Fëanor was the one who named him Morgoth, right? I believe I remember that. I believe I do. I may be wrong, though. Hope I'm not.
The rest of the Noldor elves to join him, telling them that if they journeyed with him to Middle-earth, it would bring them treasure and glory. However, many of them were not convinced and turned to Fingolfin for advice, as he was more trusted than his brother. Although not particularly keen to leave Valinor, Fingolfin had sworn to Fëanor to uphold his place as the elder brother, and he did not want to abandon his people alone to his selfish brother. He decided he would accompany Fëanor to Middle-earth. This is where things started going truly wrong. Fingolfin then became the leader of the second and largest group of Noldor elves to leave Middle-earth. Fëanor led the first, and Fingolfin's brother Finarfin led the third, which was the smallest and most reluctant group. The majority of the second and third groups were actually made up of those that were most reluctant, and this actually led to them taking longer to set out than the host led by Fëanor. This delay caused Fingolfin to make a mistake. For not long after setting out, Fëanor attempted to seize the fleet of the seafaring Teleri elves, thinking that they could use their ships to get to Middle-earth faster and safer. However, the Teleri resisted, and when Fingolfin's group caught up with Fëanor's, they were already in a heated battle. Seeing this, Fingolfin mistakenly assumed that the Teleri had attacked the Noldor, maybe even at the request of the Valar.
Oh, that's why. Damn. Okay. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. So I recently reacted to the Feanor Epic History video, which, by the way, was unbelievable. Expect on the channel soon. And I was a little bit confused as why Fingolfin joined in. Okay.
as punishment for leaving Valinor. So he and his host joined the battle against the Teleri and completed the first elven kingslaying. After the battle and the theft of the ships, the Noldor encountered a figure, possibly of Mandos himself, who proclaimed a terrible doom upon them for their actions. Hearing this, Fingolfin thought about turning back and returning to Tirion, where they had come from. But the rest of the Noldor continued towards Middle-earth. But as many of them were upset about the kinslaying and were reluctant to begin with, they began to curse Feanor. In response, he left one night with his most loyal followers in the Teleri ships, which they then burned upon reaching Middle-earth, abandoning Fingolfin and his host.
Such a
Realizing
bastard.
they had been betrayed, Fingolfin and his followers were left with a decision to make. Go after Feanor, but have to cross an extremely dangerous icy road to do so, or return to Tirion in disgrace and suffer the punishment of the Valar for their role.
Let's get Feanor.
Fingolfin chose to continue to Middle-earth, mainly to confront his brother for his betrayal. Many lives were lost while attempting to travel along the icy roads, only greatly increasing the anger and wrath they felt towards Feanor and his host. They finally arrived in Middle-earth in year 1 of the First Age and were attacked straight away by an orc army, resulting in the death of Fingolfin's youngest child. Destroying the rest of the orc force, Fingolfin approached the doors of Angband, Morgoth's great fortress. But Morgoth and his servants were dismayed by the newly risen sun and stayed inside, leaving war for another day. Feanor's host had settled in the northern shores of Lake Mithrim, and they were attacked here by a large force of Morgoth's orcs, and despite being largely outnumbered, managed to defeat their foes with relative ease. However, Feanor, in his pride, chose to chase down the small group of surviving, escaping orcs, and upon reaching Angband, Feanor and the small group that followed him came upon a group of Balrogs and were quickly slain. Feanor lasted a little longer, but fell at the hands of Gothmog, Lord of the Balrogs.
I am going to watch a video about Gothmog very soon. I'm excited for that.
After this, Morgoth gave a false offer of parley to the new leader of
What
Feanor's
a
host, Maedhros.
Goliath. Oh my
Expecting to
god.
be betrayed, both sides sent greater forces than agreed to the site of the negotiation. But Morgoth came with Balrogs, who again quickly killed the Noldor force and captured
Look at
Maedhros.
those things. Oh my
After
god.
learning of this, went and rescued him, having been great friends before the decisive actions of Feanor. They both returned to the remaining Noldor, who were all very impressed by Fingon's actions. Attempting to keep his people united, Maedhros waived his claim completely to kingship, and Fingolfin was appointed as king of the Noldor. From here they then established mighty kingdoms in Beleriand, and all attacks by Morgoth's forces were repelled with relative ease. Fingolfin retained close friendship and counsel with Maedhros. So, although that Fingolfin's forces were able to repel attacks from Morgoth's orcs, they did not yet possess the strength to attack Angband directly. Morgoth had spent centuries building his armies and creating creatures that were far more deadly than orcs. After he achieved what he considered to be a sufficient amount of servants, his armies attacked Beleriand, accompanied by huge volcanic eruptions, Balrogs, orcs, and the dragon Glaurung. They pushed back the Noldor defences and slaughtered unnumbered amounts of elves. The huge losses and defeat that the Noldor had suffered caused a great wrath to overcome Fingolfin. He decided to travel to Angband alone and challenge Morgoth to single combat.
Hell
When he
yeah.
reached the gates of Angband, he shouted his challenge to Morgoth for all to hear. And although Morgoth was said to be the mightiest of all things in the world, he was reluctant to accept the challenge. However, Fingolfin's insults could not be ignored without Morgoth losing face in front of his captains. So, he went and put on his back armour and took up his great mace Grond and emerged from Angband.
Look at that
Fingolfin
art,
then
man.
drew his sword
Unbelievable.
Ringel, and the duel began. The Elven King managed to evade all of Morgoth's blows and wounded the Dark Lord 7 times. But after a while, fatigue caught up with him and he began to slow. Morgoth beat him into the ground 3 times, but each time Fingolfin rose back to his feet and continued to fight. Eventually,
What a
Fingolfin
hero, man.
stumbled back into one of the pits in the ground that were caused by Morgoth's missed strikes with Grond. The Dark Lord then stepped on Fingolfin's neck and killed him. However, Fingolfin's last strike managed to cut deep into Morgoth's heel. After the battle, Morgoth took Fingolfin's body and broke it, intending to feed it to his wolves. But the Lord of the Eagles, Thorondor, swooped down and slashed at Morgoth's face, retrieved Fingolfin's body and brought it to the mountaintop overlooking Gondolin, very similar to the original fate of the elf Glorfindel. If you're interested to know more about that, please check out our video on him.
I
So
will.
after his father's death, Fingon became High King of the Noldor, and Morgoth was left with wounds that pained him forever. He even walked with a limp hereafter.
That is so cool,
So that,
man.
my
That is
friends,
so
the
cool.
story of
That is so
Fingolfin.
cool.
What a fantastic character. We get asked all the time if we think there will ever be a movie adaptation.
Oh, I love
of
this.
the
I love
Silmarillion,
these
which
videos.
I personally think is extremely unlikely. But I do think there's a good chance of them taking individual
You
stories
guys are right.
like this
Fingolfin's
one and
unbelievable.
perhaps creating a spin-off
What a
series about
story.
it. It's actually quite likely that if the Lord of the Rings on Prime show does well, then they will be doing spin-off shows. Some First Age stories such as this one would, in my opinion, be a great fit for a TV show.
Hell yeah, it would. I completely agree. I completely agree.
So my question for you guys today is this. Would you like to see Fingolfin in live action? Or do you
Yes.
think he is a character best left to the imagination through reading? So, time
No.
to thank our patrons. We could not do this.
No,
Hey
each
guys,
to their
and
own.
welcome to
Each
this
to their
week.
own. But I'm more of a visual, see it, believe it guy. But everyone's different. I know there are lots of different types of learners or whatever you want to call it. Man. So we could say that this guy's probably the bravest human ever in Middle-earth lore, right? Not human, elf. Person, individual, whatever you want to say. Him and Frodo. No, I'm joking. But still. Can you imagine being the first elf to realise men just die after a certain age? That would have to be confusing, terrifying, and heartbreaking. What do you mean Barahir died? What killed him? Was he ill? An accident? Was it murder? He seemed fine 60 years ago. What do you mean old age? What, you can die from that? What a random thought process. His death is the most epic I have ever read in a fictional universe. Yes. Yep. 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 Just imagine it in a live action movie, right? Damn. Fingolfin is my favourite character. He genuinely may be mine. Honestly, not because I root for him or anything, but my favourite character so far, and some people may not like this, is Feanor, man. Oh my god. Such an interesting, unbelievable story. Like, wow. 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 Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, man. I really, really appreciate you getting me to like 180 subscribers, I think we currently are. Let's push for 250. I'm going to react to The Hobbit for the first time ever. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time. Take care.